Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more waterfowl patterning. And we've got another new load out here today that we haven't tested yet, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what it might actually be able to do. So for the load we've got out here to test today, I picked up some of these, the Kent Fasteel 2.0 precision plated steel shells here. These are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch of steel BB. And on the back here, it just says premium wads and double powder for good ignition and plated steel and stuff like that. You guys can pause and read through that if you would like, but nothing that really catches my eye as being special. And here's what the shells actually look like here. Now, to my eyes, it doesn't look like they have any kind of sealant stuff on there. Neither do they on the back of the primer area there. And these are 1550 feet per second if I didn't mention it earlier. So we'll see how accurate that number actually is. And as for the setup we're going to be running them through today, I've got my Remington 1187 back out here again with the stock modified choke in the gun, which is typically what I like to use when I run steel waterfowl loads like this. However, with these being steel BB shot, the modified choke might be a little bit on the tighter side for them. However, it's where we're going to start today, even if it doesn't give us the absolute best performance we can get out of these loads. I do want to test them through like an improved cylinder and stuff like that as well. But we're starting with the stock modified choke for today. And as for the testing, everything's going to be done the same as we usually do it. I have a duck target set up down there at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see what kind of speed we're getting and how close it is to that 1550 that's on the box. So let's head over here and get you guys a view of the target. We'll head up and shoot the shot. Then we'll take a look at what kind of speed we had through the chrono, and then we'll go down range and see what kind of performance we had. So let's head over here and shoot them and see what they give us. Alright, so as you can see, we're now looking at the chronograph here, and that shell gave us 1242, which is nowhere near the 1550 that they were claiming on the box. That's 300 feet per second slower than what they were claiming, which is definitely noticeable when you're working with steel. Now, it is BB, so you do carry a little bit more energy than like a load of 2s would or something like that, but still 1242 for a load of steel shot, I would like to see at least in the 1400s personally. But how did they actually perform downrange? Let's go take a look and see. Alright, so now we're downrange here at our target, and this is what we got here. Now, we do have a dead duck or goose or whatever would have been in that area where you were trying to hit. I mean, we do have one up in the top of his head there, and one or two more in the body, and another one or two that might have clipped something in the wings. So that duck would have definitely came crashing out of the sky. But if we back up and look here, we see what is not a very impressive pattern, in my opinion. Now, we do have to remember and take into account that these are BBs and not like a load of 2s or 4s or something like that. So we are working with less pellets than we would be in a load like that. So that definitely plays into it a little bit. But what we see here is kind of splotchy and patchy, in my opinion. We have a little group right down in the bottom left corner of that blue paper. There's another little splotch right up off the top edge of that paper. And then moving down, we have all of that sporadic stuff down there. It's just not a very even or uniform looking pattern. Now, with that being said, would it still do the job? Yes. But would it be consistent enough to where if you led your shot perfect every time, would a bird be able to make it through that or not? I don't know. And maybe that could very well have something to do with it being a modified choke as well. Like I said earlier, I definitely want to test it through some different chokes, a little bit more open and stuff, and see what it can do. But to start out with here, it's definitely a little bit more splotchy, and there's definitely some bigger gaps and voids than what I would really like to see here. Okay, and here's the wad that came out of that shell, and it opened up beautifully, really, just about perfectly even. There's nothing stuck down in there, but you can definitely see the dimples and stuff from that steel BB shot that was there. But overall, nothing that I'm really too concerned with here. I can definitely tell that modified choke is probably about as tight as I would really want to go with this, because it was getting pretty close to wanting to poke through on a couple of those little dimples there. So modified is about as tight as what I would really want to go with this. But overall here, not really anything too special to see out of this wad, and definitely not any kind of special design or anything like that going on here. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance there? I don't think it's the worst I've ever seen, but it's definitely far from the best as well. It's definitely a little bit patchy, and there's some big voids in there and stuff like that that I really don't like to see. I mean, it is a steel load of BBs, so you're working with quite a lot less pellets, especially in a 2 3/4 inch shell than you would in like a 3-inch load of 2s or something like that. So we do have to take that into account. But still, with what's there, it's a little bit more patchy than what I would like to see. Now, of course, like I've mentioned already several times, I think we need to test it through some different chokes and stuff and see what happens when we run it through some other setups and chokes and things like that, because it may get better than what we saw here. But at the end of the day, what do you guys think about it? Is that good enough? Is that about what you expected to see? And if you have any experience with the Kent Fasteel 2.0s or whatever like this, what has been your experience with kind of how they pattern? Leave all your thoughts down in the comments and let me know. But with that being said, we've got a bunch more testing to get done out here, so I'm going to jump back to it. And I should mention as well before we head out today that we do have a mailbox now for you to send shells or chokes or anything like that to if you would like to see them tested on the channel. Now please note, as of right now, I don't take hand-loaded ammunition just for the safety factor of it. So if you want to send a factory loaded ammunition or something like that, then by all means I'll leave that information down in the description. But on that note, I've got a bunch more testing to run for y'all, so I'll see y'all in the next one.